Johnstown pain, but it gave me a spark. Lit my path bright when the world was dark. Oak Street raised me, I left my mark. Yeah. Raised on a woody, raised on a woody, raised on a woody, raised on a woody. Road crazy down pain, but it gave me a spark. Lit my path bright when the world was dark. Oak Street raised me, I left my mark. Raised on a woody, raised on a woody, raised on a woody, raised on a woody,
Yeah, baby. Throwing up my W's. You know what time it is. It's your man Zen Master from the West Coast. 5:40 in the PM out here. Hope everybody out there is doing well. It is Tuesday night. Tuesday is absolutely the most lit day on social media, particularly on YouTube. As you all know, Godfrey, 5150, everybody and their mama is on Tuesday. Now, we're going to talk about 5150 a little bit tonight, not much, but it is only natural. It's Tuesday night, so we got to touch base yet again. Catch up with the Corey Holcomb saga, get on to some good things tonight. But first, we're going to talk about the state of the NBA and Steph Curry's contribution to the state of the NBA versus LeBron James's contribution to the state of the NBA. Now, we're going to watch a clip today from YouTube that is going to highlight the differences between Steph and LeBron's legacies. Personally, I feel like Steph Curry has impacted the game more than LeBron James has. Just personally, I believe that. The style of play that is most common in the NBA today is based on what Stephen Curry was able to innovate, and that is the high volume three-point offense. Now, of course, people shot three-pointers before Steph Curry, but the volume of three-pointers before Steph Curry was nowhere near this level. Reggie Miller only dreamed about shooting this many three-point shots. And so we're now in a position where, pardon me, folks, I lost my camera. I'll go ahead and refresh that. But we're now in a position where most of the league is shooting mostly three-point shots. I live in Portland. They shoot a lot of, I've been to games, they shot 53, 54 three-point shots. Now, the problem is this, in my opinion, before we react to this Odd Couple video. If I'm paying to go to this game or I'm paying to watch it on TV and you're primarily shooting three-point shots, you're only expected to hit 40% of those shots to be considered efficient. So you're expected to miss 60% of the majority of shots that you're taking. And then your two-point success is really only going to be about 50%, perhaps a little higher, but shooting averages around the NBA team-wise are hovering around 50%. We don't get the level of efficiency that we used to get out of the mid-range and the post-game. And it's affected the game negatively, in my opinion. That's what makes it less watchable, is that particular paradigm. But let's take a look at the Odd Couple with Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington, one of my very favorite podcasts here on YouTube, and listen to what these guys had to say.
Two NBA players that are historically played very hard are LeBron James and Steph Curry.
LeBron James.
They were supposed to square off on Saturday night on prime time on ABC. Problem is, Steph's still dealing with the knee injury. Lakers roll by 30. That's not the story. The story is that before that game, on Friday afternoon, Steve Kerr was on the radio in the Bay talking to a friend of ours, Mark Willard. Shout out to Mark Willard.
Shout out to Sam in San Francisco. Did
That's
you guys
right.
see it?
That's right. I did see Mark Willard.
Shout out to
my
Mark.
old partner
He
when
worked
I
with
first
everybody
started
here.
here.
He
We love
literally
Mark.
had, I've done shows with him, Mark. Yes.
Legitimate friend of the show. So Kerr was on Willard's radio show, 98.7 The Game, and Willard asked Kerr, tell us, in your opinion, how you think the game has changed, or how these two specifically have changed the game of basketball in their 20 years or so in the NBA. Here's Kerr's response. Take a listen.
Steph has changed the game dramatically with the shooting. I mean, for all the reasons we know. I don't know that LeBron has changed the game as much as Steph, but he sort of took the mantle from, Kobe and Michael Jordan, that guy who is just head and shoulders above everybody athletically, but he's taken it to a new level with the versatility in his game. There's just never been a player like him.
You want to go? You want me to go?
Go ahead.
This is one of those. Steve Kerr is wrong. Steve Kerr is right. Here's what I mean. If we're talking just the actual X's and O's, I will absolutely say Steph Curry has changed the game of basketball. Have you seen a court? Any court? I coached my daughter's YMCA basketball a year or so ago. And what do I see? Little kids jacking up half-court shots. Everybody shooting three. Literally, as I just said that, 2 different games going on over here. 2 different guys shooting threes. Steph Curry changed the game and got guys that take bad shots that they really shouldn't because, Steph alone with analytics say 3 is better than 2 and I should shoot this and blah, blah, blah. So absolutely Steph Curry is changing in that regard.
Look, folks, let me add. Analytics is not wrong. It's not. 40% of a 3 is 1.2 points. You need 60% at 2 to achieve 1.2 points. Fine. That's what centers, power forwards, and mid-range specialists are for. Now, take their true shooting percentage into account because those guys get to the stripe a whole lot more than 3-point shooters. So really, we should be looking at true shooting. We really should, as opposed to all-out 3-pointers. But the focus right now in basketball, because of Steph Curry, is the 3.
Say LeBron changed it is more so on the court and off the court and larger things. I'll explain what I mean. LeBron brought in the player empowerment movement for better, for worse, whether you like it, you love it. LeBron started I'm going to do what's best for me. I'm going to do this. Let's team up. People don't like it, but that's what happened. LeBron had changed the game in that he was become very, very vocal about things that a superstar at that point lately we started to have where they didn't say anything. And he became very vocal. He was talking about a lot of social justice issues. In fact, having issues with our current president, the first...
No, we're not going to give the social activist badge to LeBron James. No, we're not. Kelvin's a fanboy. He's from that generation. They don't know the difference between an activist and somebody who wears a hoodie or makes a one-off comment. What did LeBron James do when he was asked about Israel last week? All righty then. An activist would have stood on 10 toes. LeBron James went to doing that Neo in the Matrix thing, dodging. Let's be honest.
Administration going back and forth. So LeBron became very vocal, and you started to see guys right up under him start to speak out, including Steph Curry, speaking out from time to time. So I believe LeBron in a larger scale changed things for the bigger player, the more independence for the player, the more beneficial things for the players in the league and as a whole. The actual game play, I do agree that Steph Curry is changing more because everybody can't walk around, Rob, 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 240, 50, 60, best jumper, fastest dude in the league, strong, is top 5 strong dude in the league. That's a freak of nature. But what I can do is fire up some shots. What I can do is dribble, and then shoot. What I can do, come off some screens and shoot. And that was what Steph Curry enabled everybody to do. In college, as we watch, when other TV has college on, high school, down to just pickup games. People are shooting shots that they never would have before. Those shots would have, if you played ball back in my day, you would have been on the bench.
Okay, Kelvin, but that's really not the point. Obviously, that's a coaching issue where if my players are shooting ridiculous shots of any kind, I'm going to stop them. I'm going to coach them up to not shoot ridiculous shots of any kind. Again, Kelvin's a fanboy. He's from the generation that likes to make excuses and soften things. I'm going to lay down the truth. Steph Curry has made basketball difficult for most people to watch because of the 3-ball outside of Steph Curry. And then you take the most exciting players in the game, and they're not quite Steph in terms of what they're able to do with that 3-ball, although some of them in terms of percentage, get close. Steph takes a higher degree of difficulty and makes a higher degree of difficulty than any of them. The best three-point shooters don't have the level of volume that Steph does, or they wouldn't be, to be honest. They probably wouldn't be. But the game has evolved, and there are guys out there who shoot 40%. There are. But if you turn Steph Curry into a set shooter, a wait for the ball, catch and shoot guy, he'd probably shoot 60% from three. Steph's running around screens, doing all kind of play actions that the average three-point shooter is not doing. And that's what makes Steph Steph. LeBron, as he said, is just a physical specimen. LeBron really hasn't developed his game that much since his rookie season. LeBron's shooting 31% from three as we speak this season, 31% from three. And what is LeBron the best at in basketball? What is his signature? What's he the best at? PR? Publicity? Help me out here, folks. What is LeBron the best at in basketball? I don't see it. I don't see how LeBron changed basketball outside of maybe making free agency a little bit more easygoing.
The bad shot, absolutely Steph Curry changed the game in that regard.
But he changed the game in a bad way. And people can talk about LeBron and player empowerment and some of the other stuff that he was involved in and whatnot that happened. He partly wrecked the All-Star game by not taking part in it and kind of downplaying it, and people followed his lead, and there's other stuff.
Well, little buster.
But Steph Curry changed the game for the worst. Like, Steph Curry has a stain on the game, and I don't care, because part of what you talked about, he was taking ridiculous shots that shouldn't have been taken. Under most circumstances, coaches would have pulled guys out of games, just heaving up three-quarter shots, half-court shots, ridiculous shots in moments. And not only did those things be bad, other players who had no business taking those threes also decided.
That's what made it bad.
Right. But because he was making them. And if Steph Curry had missed some of those early on, they probably could have corralled him in and said, dude, what are you doing? Like Steph Curry.
All right, the only other person who takes ridiculous deep shots on the regular is Damian Lillard, because Damian Lillard can also take and make those ridiculous deep shots. What are they talking about here? We just saw Luka Doncic run himself off from a 26-footer, take a dribble, hezzy, and have to pass the rock because he thought he was too deep to shoot a game winner from 26 feet. What are you guys talking about, Rob?
You can talk about all those big shots. That dipsy doodle behind the back pass in the
finals.
In the finals was like
threw the trophy out of bounds.
Dipsy
am I
doodle.
right?
They made a meme, and instead of the ball, it was the trophy.
I mean, like that was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. In a big game like that, he's doing up to Klay Thompson, right? That went out of bounds. But my point is, Mark Willard, I would have said, had Steve Kerr said that. But you mean in a negative way, in a bad way, he wrecked the NBA. That's where we are. All the threes. He wrecked the game, the All-Star game. Steph Curry's mark on the league isn't the greatest shooter of all times.
It is.
It's the greatest wrecker of all time. He wrecked the NBA. He left it for ruin. That's where we are.
See, but this is where I disagree.
Nah. LeBron James wrecked the NBA. With his lack of participation in all-star games, his lack of participation in the dunk contest, his constant self-aggrandizing. Steph Curry evolutionized basketball from the term that he caused the three-pointer to be emphasized. Now, this is a trend. Okay, it's not necessarily here to stay. You can see that the centers are already starting to dominate again. Big men are starting to dominate again. Jokic, Giannis, Alperen Sengun is a name to watch for. Donovan Clingan here in Portland is a name to watch for. But bigs definitely have their place in this game, and they're dominant again in a large way. If Joel Embiid wasn't so janky, we'd be talking about him. Okay? And it's not just a big who can shoot from three. It's a big who has posts and who has playmaking abilities. Victor Wembanyama, for example. All right, he's no three-point expert, but he's going to be the MVP for years. So I don't agree that Steph Curry ruined the NBA. If anybody did it, it's LeBron James. And all you have to do is look at the NBA's TV ratings after Michael Jordan retired. They dipped dramatically, then they plateaued. They peaked briefly at Kobe a little bit, and then they stayed flat after Kobe. LeBron has not recovered TV ratings for the NBA at all, and neither has Stephen Curry. And those two men have led the NBA over the last 20 years, and there is no disputing who's led the NBA over the last 2 years. So if the NBA is in bad position, and Steph has evolutionized basketball and has everybody imitating him, I would say LeBron James is more likely the person responsible for the downfall of the NBA as it currently stands. Of course, I'm a world-renowned Bron hater, a professional Bron hater. If you don't know that about me, now you know. All right? I have fun with it. Don't take it seriously. I'm a Bron hater, colloquially. I spend money to watch the man play basketball. Just have fun, all right? Everything ain't that serious. You need to get away and you need to relax, especially at a time like this. Welcome to Reaction Nation. I'm your man, Zen Master. Make sure you hit the super chat, hit the like button, share this live. Share. That is the key to all this, is community. Make sure you leave comments. I don't have a comment viewer up right now, to be honest with you. I'm just going to try to produce the highest quality show that I can and look for comments on the reruns and premieres. I don't want to be distracted as we're going through today's topics, but let's spin the clip on Parker and Washington.
With that, he's magical at it. He makes these shots. We sit up here and marvel at it. He's the first guy that shoots 75-footers that I stopped from going to the restroom to wait before the buzzer rings out. 2-1. Okay, he missed it. Like, he's the only player I've ever did that for. So he's been marvelous. He's been arguably the most entertaining player of the last 15, 20 years. And so I give him credit for that. The issue is people are lazy, and so they just say, oh, well, this is working for him and working for the Warriors, I'm doing it. What they didn't see was you have one of the greatest shooters of all time, if not the greatest. You have one of the other greatest shooters of all time, Klay Thompson, and you have a world-class team.
Everybody's great, huh?
Right. Well, shooting the ball, they are. And you have a team that was great at other things, which is what made them win so many games, 73 games, win championship. They were great. They were always top, what was it, Rob G? Always top 2-3 defensively. They were always top 2-3 in assists because they cut backdoor cuts. So we focus on just the threes, not realizing this team is actually playing good basketball. It's just they have two of the best shooters, and then three once KD came, of all time. You shouldn't do that. Everybody can't do that. I can't do what you can do. You can't do what I can do. And, everybody has their thing. So the idea that everybody just believed, well, Steph Curry shoot threes, I guess we should shoot threes, what analytics say, and it became lazy. And guys, I'm watching this Wizard Rocket. They guys just chucking up threes. And so I, in essence, blame him for being so great. He was so great, so efficient, so proficient that everybody was like, well, I can do it too. No, you can't.
No, you can't. But that's not Steph's fault. That's you losers' fault. All right, that's your fault. There's other ways. There's multiple ways to win in basketball. A great team is the only way, really, to win in basketball. You can have the highest individual talent in the land. If your team doesn't perform like a team, can't stop nobody from scoring, what does it matter how good you are? Ask James Harden.
Was his success. I hear what you're saying, but it ruined the game. And his success,
in an indirect way, he ruined
the NBA. He ruined the NBA. And the worst part is he can never make a big shot in a big moment. That's the worst part of it. True. But he still ruined the league.
It's the analytics to me. It's easy to say Steph. It's analytics went to Steph and said, see, look what he's doing. Analytically, it says if you shoot this and you shoot, shut up. Analytics ruin NFL. We and you have talked about that. What do you need to run about? Just
thank God they fixed baseball with the home runs and the strikeouts.
All you just go for it, because technically, at least if you get a home run this time, it's better than hitting a ground ball.
blaming analytics is lazy as well. I explained the analytics to you behind 2s versus 3s. It's as simple as 40% from 3 is 1.2 points per shot. You need 60% from 2 to get 1.2 points per shot. But if we look at true shooting, and you're a 2-point shooter and you can get to the stripe and make 3-point plays as often as somebody shooting 3s makes 3s, you're even more valuable. That's what made the mid-range game and the attack game so freaking valuable. You know who knows that? Denny Avia. You know who else knows that? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not out here chucking 3s infinitely. He plays his midi. He drives. In fact, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's favorite spot, I can tell you, is the left elbow. He's trying to go there every chance he gets. If he can't blow by you, he'll take a 3 if he has to, but he ain't worried about it. He goes to his highest point of efficiency, where he knows he can get fouled. The smart ones do it, man. Damian Lillard, before they changed the rules on him and Harden, Damian Lillard and James Harden were the best 2 foul hunters in the NBA. And both of them were good 3-point shooters while they were at it. I hate excuses, folks. I absolutely hate it. Don't like them. But we got more for you today. We're going to stay on sports. And we're going to talk about my Pittsburgh Steelers getting a bad report card from the NFLPA. I got to say, shameful day in the Berg, shameful day for the Steelers. Pardon me as I pull up the video here, but I'll tell you what, folks. We're tired of it in Pittsburgh. Art Rooney is the first Pittsburgh Steelers owner that I can actually look at and go, you're the problem. You're the problem. Obviously, Art Sr. wasn't a problem. Obviously. But Art the second, problem.
Hey, guy. My face.
Pardon me for this. I'm going to put this on YouTube so we can watch it together. We got a clip from...
Hey, guys. It's your favorite unk here. Go ahead and...
As you can tell, your uncle Shannon Sharp and his partner Ocho Cinco as they discuss this particular story. I'm going to go ahead and advance past the gambling ad as all these doggone sports podcasts. Man, it's a problem. If you're interested in this topic of gambling ads and black men in particular, Torre just published a video about how these gambling houses are using black men to sell trust. Just take a look at Torre's video. It's pretty insightful. Without further ado, we'll move into, again, Shannon and Ocho Cinco on the Steelers report card from the NFLPA as the worst team in the NFL to play for, evidently. This is a sad day
Increase
for me.
the standard. Acrashore Stadium grass turf was subject of a discussion after it was particularly torn up during Week 6 between the Steelers and Browns. Ocho?
Yes, sir.
NFL won the grievance. They're like, you can't release this because you're releasing this in bad faith and and you're trying to make our team look bad.
Right.
But why can't? But I'm just saying. But what's? You don't want the player's opinion? You got all these sites that have an opinion. They grade the players, which is third party.
Yep.
And a lot of people base their grades and how they play players on those grades.
Yes.
So a player that actually plays there to see it day to day, say, you know what, the training facility is not up to up to par. The craft services, which is the food, is not up to par.
Right.
The family, where the family resides, it's not up to par.
Right.
I mean, I'm confused. Why, Ocho?
Yeah, listen, that's a good thing. And obviously you think about it too, right? You think about the owners and what they choose to invest in. I mean, what's most important to them? Obviously, everything starts with the product you're putting on the field. Obviously, along with the product, you want to have the best services for said players to keep everyone healthy, strengthen.
Look, it's already buck-ass cold in Pittsburgh. I grew up 60 miles east of Pittsburgh. It is freezing cold all the time. As soon as September, October comes around, forget it. The heat's on until April, May. Okay, it is not moderate whatsoever. It's cold. And it's boring. Pittsburgh is not an exciting city. Okay, you can go down to the south side, you can go downtown, you can get the Strip District. You can go out to the riverfront, and then you're out of options. That's pretty much it. It's just like any other town, but it's particularly boring in my opinion. My family's there. I grew up near there. Got a lot of love for Pittsburgh, but the mystique of the Steelers can only carry us so far. These guys that are coming into the NFL, they don't remember the 4 Super Bowls at all. It's not a part of their consciousness. They barely remember the last 2, if they remember those at all. So it's just, they don't look at your organization the same way you do. And Art Rooney II thinks that he can get away with being a cheapskate off of the mystique of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he can't. Art Rooney II has only led the Steelers into season after season after season of mediocrity ever since he took over from Dan. Ever since. He is by far, in my opinion, the worst owner in the NFL, not named Geritol Jones or Mark Davis. You're number 3, Art Rooney. Let's spin the clip.
Conditioning, nutrition, some of the things that come to hand right away. Obviously, outside of that, all the other amenities, I think most owners don't see it as important as said players, which is why those that have bad grades, they have them for a reason.
Ocho.
Yes, sir.
The objective is to make as much money as I possibly can
Talk
while
to me.
spending.
Talk.
I look at ROI, which is return on investment.
Investment, yes.
I invest a little, I get maximum in return.
Right.
Hey,
If I upgrade my facilities, if I give you if I get a new weight room, if I give the facilities where families can come and the kids can come,
right.
that's money. I gotta pay for that.
Talk to me now.
No. I want y'all in them same dilapidated facilities.
Yes.
I expect you to win
Yeah.
while we get $400 million from TV revenue. Remember, the cap's only $305 million, so that's 95. You're 95. Already, you're 95 up. You
Yeah.
haven't sold tickets. You haven't sold concession. You haven't sold parking, and you haven't sold merchandise.
Yeah.
And you haven't sold local TV and broadcast.
Right.
You're 100, you're 95. Now, okay, you pay your coaching staff. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Ocho, you all in on your coaching staff at $30 million. You still got 65 plus the 5 things that I just added. So at worst case scenario, you probably coming home with $100 million.
Yeah.
That's worst case. Cowboys, you're probably coming home with $300 million. But even the worst franchise is coming home with $100 million after they pay all the players, after they pay the coaches. That's what you're coming home with.
Yep. I mean that's always been the owner's mindset. That's always been the model for any business, especially an entity of this magnitude. ROI.
Bottom line.
Because guess what?
Can I pay less but maximize more?
Yep. Profit maximization. Ocho Cinco talking like an NBA. Steelers fans, you're not going to like this, man. But during the season, it occurred to me that Art Rooney II has figured out that as long as you go 9-8 and 10-7 and never have a losing season, he won't lose any revenue. And he figured out that he won't gain that much more revenue from actually competing. So what's going on in Pittsburgh is now, instead of having extraordinary owners who wanted to actually win, we have Art Rooney II, who has figured out that all he has to do is sit on cruise control at 10-7, 9-8, never be aggressive, never have a losing season that leads to a high draft pick, never crash out in order to rebuild intentionally. He's comfortable. As long as he's pulling in that minimum $110 million a year, plus, after all ticket sales, concessions, parking, minus expenses and everything else, yeah, Yeah. He's happy. He don't care if the Steelers win. Be nice. He don't really care. Obviously, his father and his brother cared. Art Rooney II does not care. And I don't care about Art Rooney II anymore. I'll tell you what, man. I never thought it would be difficult to be a Steelers fan. Art Rooney II, you have made it difficult to be a Steelers fan. All right, folks, we're going to ease into a little heavier content now. And we're going to watch a video, review a video by Antonio Speaks / Antonio Talks regarding the Post Malone method. Now, Antonio has identified in his young life, he's only 24 years old, but this bright young man has identified the fact that a lot of white artists in America tend to start off with a black aesthetic and then quickly jump to a non-black aesthetic for popularity. A lot of us in the black community have noticed this before. I apologize for the little audio jump there as I cue up the video. But Antonio Speaks is a bright young man. Again, I think he has a lot to say. Great insight when it comes to stuff like this. Concerns himself with matters of race in a positive way. And I want to encourage everyone to head over to Antonio Speaks and Antonio Talks. Subscribe to his channels, hit the like button and all that good stuff. But let's hear what he has to say in particular about this subject.
So if I was a non-black person, specifically white, and I wanted to gain a lot of money, notoriety, fame, etc., right? There are two options that I would follow behind. Number one, I would find me a black person. It could be a friend or not a friend, right? But we basically gonna be in a partnership. In this agreement, I am going to take the highest profit of this money because I am going to be affected the most. But essentially what I would do is I would have my black friend come into my job, preferably something fast food, McDonald's, Burger King, whatever, right? And I'll have like a decoy standing off to the side recording. And what'll happen is I'm going to tell the black dude to start an argument. And while in the midst of me trying to calm the black dude down, I'm going to call him a slur, preferably the N-word slur. This is going to be caught on camera. Now the next step is very crucial. We're going to hit up all of these racist Twitter pages. We're going to hit up all of these big right-wing YouTubers, Hodge twins, all them type of dudes. And we're going to tell them to post a video. We're then going to come out and say that we got fired because we probably would. And essentially we're going to start a GoFundMe. Now this could go very good or it could go bad. As we have seen in 2025, man, multiple people have started GoFundMes because they were blatantly racist. I mean, millions of dollars. So that's my option, okay? It's kind of shameful, but hey. Now my second option would be way less risk, and it's simply the Post Malone method. Now you ask, what's the Post Malone method? It's basically cultural appropriation. Think of the artist Post Malone. He first gained fame in 2015 dropping his song White Iris. In this song, he was basically acting like a black American. Had the cornrows in, had the gold teeth, was dressing like a black person. Fast forward to 2026 and he's an entirely different person. Now this is a problem because with the
Now, before Antonio continues, let me just interject and say we saw this with the history of music in America, starting, to my recollection, with the 1950s. They used to cover black artists all the time. Elvis Presley is infamous. Pat Boone is infamous. Doris Day, infamous for covering / stealing black artists' music without compensating or crediting them. Pat Boone was an entire industry built around that. Antonio is now putting this in modern terms as it comes to Post Malone. But this is actually the Pat Boone, Elvis Presley method. And if you go do your homework and do your research, I'm sure you can find examples prior to that.
Post Malone method, all you're doing is just using black people in the culture to get ahead. Because it's like, why couldn't you start off with country music? I gotta admit this, man. As black people, I hate this about us. We are too accepting and anything impresses us. How many times have y'all been scrolling on the IG post, Instagram post, shit, even Facebook at times, and you see a white person that is, I guess, acting black? The comments are full of people inviting them to the cookout. And it's like, bro, these are the bare minimum things. Because think about it, y'all. Flip it over and you see a black person, you know, trying to do rock or pop or something like that. Even though those did start with black people, but I'm just using it as an example. How many times have we seen like a black person in rock and the white people in that situation are like supporting them and telling them, yeah, bro, you invited to the goddamn country club. You don't see that. In fact, they're going to get mad at you. Look at Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? Now on the screen right here, we have a few examples. Obviously, Post Malone on the right, we just talked about him. I don't know who this guy is in the middle. Y'all can tell me who he is, but as you can see, chain, watches, braids, and now he's...
Look at Jelly Roll. Look at Jelly Roll over here. Long braids. Now he's countryed out with Lil Wayne tats on his face. It's crazy. They're doing they go into the country space and still carry some of that with them though. The dude in the middle, I don't know who he is either. Maybe y'all can let us know in the comments, but I really don't know who he is. But I'm getting old, so I don't know who a lot of people are these days.
Country. And then Jelly Roll. I never knew this about Jelly Roll. I mean, I don't think Jelly Roll is a bad dude. I don't know much about him. But as you can see, bro, cornrows, he probably wasn't around a lot of black people.
Jelly
and
Roll.
now he's full on shit MAGA coded.
This that boy right here. I call him Junior, you know what I'm saying? They know him in the streets, Jelly Roll.
Look at Big Pun and Fat Joe. Look at Pun and Joe.
Ass stacks, I'll tell you a whole new asshole on that freestyle to my son, help me God. You know what I'm saying? That's the future right there. That's what it is, though. You know what I'm saying? That's the future right there. I probably won't be here to see it, so you know what I'm saying? Lex gonna have to coach him up. Rap don't work for me. I can get a bird for cheap. I know you heard of me. Come on, he's murder, and I will chop your ass up like it's a cheeseburger. Jelly, I'ma live it up. Jelly, I'ma live it up. I tried to draw my dick on a piece of paper, but the paper wasn't big enough, so give it up. Homie, you ain't talking about that. Woo!
Yes,
Bruh.
this is Jelly Roll. This is Jelly Roll with some braids, an iced out chain, and a 5X red tee, bro. This is when he was hanging with the Nagas. I'm noticing a trend, right? Jelly Roll, Post Malone, Machine Gun Kelly, Kid Rock. They all started hanging with niggas.
Madonna. Pink. There's more. I can't remember anymore right now, but there's more.
All started their career off as rappers. And then once that failed, they go to either country or rock and roll.
Miley Cyrus.
They all use black American culture to get ahead in the music business. And once they are established, that's when they go to their true selves. They be using and abusing black Americans, bro. Heavy. You know who ain't do that? Paul Wall.
It's Paul Wall, baby.
I even throw in Everlast. At least they were consistent.
Now, this is the thing, too, y'all. I do understand that there are some white people that grew up in the hood. And this is why I explained that a lot of times you are just a product of your environment, right? So these white dudes that grew up in the hood, they, in a sense, adopt black American culture. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is when you use it as just a phase for you. Because what you will see is a lot of these white people, their bad phase is, I guess, cosplaying black American culture. So while they're in their early teens and late teens, they'll be around black people kicking it. And then as they grow out of that phase, that bad era, whatever you want to call it, they're around.
When they need a job, we ain't cool no more. I'm not saying that. I got white friends as well, especially back home that I grew up with. But I also had some white friends turn on me, man. Like really cold, in some cold ways where you're like, damn, we was cool in high school. Now you acting like you don't even know me. Like some cold shit.
All white people, and that's just how I'm thinking with it. Now, I want to touch upon just the whole, and I honestly want to know why is a white person dancing or a white person singing some rap lyrics so exciting to black people? I am genuinely confused.
The desire that many black folks have to inviting white people to a cookout is a lot like the need that children have towards having a good relationship with a parental figure who has hurt them. Let me land. This came to me because I was watching a video by this white man who's a father, stay-at-home father, talking about his resentment towards other men who have all these hobbies, do all these extracurricular activities, because that's a sign that you're not there and you're not an active parent. The more muscles and hobbies you have as a dad, most likely the less present you are and the more of a burden you are to your female partner. This is obviously a point that many women have been trying to make to their husbands forever, but this man, and to men in general, but this man distilled it in a quick video. So people are all in the comments saying, fine, you can have a platform, fine, you can have a podcast mic. In the era of people saying ban men from podcasts, women are in the comment sections telling him he can have one. And I don't know if it was because he was talking about parenting, but it immediately struck me as being that same thing of when a child is desperate to reconnect to the parental figure who has been harmful to them. They are so eager to forgive them. They're so eager to let the past be the past. Because for some reason, even though that parental figure has harmed you, you still seek their approval. That invitation to the cookout and the invitation to have a podcast, while it's you giving approval to the white man or to the white person, it's really a mechanism for their approval because you're inviting them into your space. You're saying, fine, you can come, but you hope that they want to come into that space because it still validates that space. In fact, the invitation already presupposes that the white person wants to be at the cookout because that invitation wouldn't hold any water if they didn't. But why would they want to be at the cookout? Because they perceive it as something fun, interesting, worthwhile. Yeah, that is them validating the cookout as a place to want to be, meaning that people who invite white people to the cookout, while they're doing the inviting, it's still a validation mechanism of seeking approval from whiteness. The same way that kids who want to connect with harmful parental figures seek that same approval.
Hey, shout out to that sister, man. She broke it down perfectly. It all goes back to white approval. And on the surface, a lot of black people don't want to admit it, but they seek this. A lot of non-white people do. I'm glad that me personally, I never really saw things from this lens, but I could understand how a black person could. But please, stop sending out fucking cookout invitations. Stop calling these people white chocolate for singing a song. Like, I'm so tired of it. And look, we got a group of, that's a white man up there. He invited to the cookout. Oh my God. Bro, he's doing nothing but just driving his car.
Okay, Antonio. It's not to be taken that seriously, folks. I don't think we literally be inviting folks to the cookout as much as Antonio is kind of making it out to seem that we do. And I'm, cutting him some slack and ribbing him at the same time because what he's saying is we invite people into the culture, right? But the cookout is just a metaphor for inviting us into the culture. So if you can dance like a black person and you're white, it's probably because you've been around black people most of your life. You took the time to understand, or you got some DNA up in you. But what I'm saying is that black people can act like white people can act like black people. It's the oddity. It's the fact that they are the exception to the rule that makes them, that's what makes it exciting. If they were like everyone else, we wouldn't notice them, but we notice them because they have that skin color and that hair, but they're moving like us. Just like you would notice and do notice someone with my skin color and my hair moving like them. All right. And it's not like there's no fluidity in between the two. There's plenty of fluidity. It's called Italians. Italians are like the bridge between whites and black folks. I swear they are. They like the niggas of white folks. I love you, Italians. Straight up. That was our man Antonio Speaks. He puts on a hell of a presentation on his YouTube channel. If you are not familiar with Antonio Speaks, make sure you head over to both of his channels, Antonio Speaks and Antonio Talks. Brilliant young brother out of South Carolina. As we move along to our next topic, which is the Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club and Netflix are having big problems. From what I hear, I'm hearing things, but what I heard today is that the Breakfast Club Netflix experiment is over and that there will be no more Breakfast Club on Netflix, at least for now. We'll get into our man AT2's video here in just a second. AT2 is another one of our favorite content creators here on YouTube as I queue up his video. AT2, I believe, is out of Los Angeles, California. Very sincere, honest brother. He does, some gossip content, not a lot. He does some political content, and he does a sector that I didn't even know existed, man. AT2 has a whole YouTube sector I didn't even know existed called church beef. Apparently, these mega churches be having beef, and they all over YouTube with it. AT2's in tune. I'm not into the church like that, but if you are, check out my man AT2 on YouTube. Boy got it going on. Check him out. Let's spin the clip.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2 here. Now, I had completely forgot Breakfast Club had a deal with Netflix because I noticed like I hadn't really seen them. And I was like, I don't really see their interviews. I know they recently had one with Corey Bush, but I was like, where do you find it at? Because they're on Netflix. Now, what I didn't know is that Netflix completely stopped them from posting the interviews on YouTube, which, I mean, makes sense because they want you to go ahead and go and subscribe on Netflix, right? So with that being said, Just Hilarious actually confirmed, like, yeah, they snatched all that content. So let's go ahead and listen to it right now. Here we go.
That's where Charlamagne the Gizzard is from.
Let me just interrupt before Hilarious is going. To me, man, this is about user experience. Nobody thinks first thing in the morning I'm jumping on Netflix for nothing. Nothing. That is a come home, chill out, turn it on before I crash type of activity. First thing I do in the morning is go straight to YouTube. Not Netflix, because there's nothing but movies and series on Netflix. It would take a whole paradigm shift for most of us to even think about it that way. And then what if I just want to listen to The Breakfast Club and not watch it? Will Netflix give me a screen off option the way YouTube Premium does? It was a bad idea. I'm just glad Charlamagne got paid. He did get paid $200 million.
He was so damn happy that I was going on there. I ain't gonna lie, yo, since Breakfast Club been on Netflix, man, our engagement, our people all the fans that we built up over time, or that they built up, I just got here, that they built up over time on YouTube, oh my God, they feel neglected because Netflix was like, nope, we want all of it. Y'all can't have no other social media presence. Wow. So now we gotta find other content to do that can go on our other platforms. But it's okay because Just Hilarious got that in a bag, shorty. So make sure y'all tune into Justice Thoughts. I started doing a segment where I do like a reaction videos to the interviews. Like thoughts, shit that I be sitting there thinking in my mind in real time with the interviews, but it's some of the funniest content ever. So go ahead, make sure y'all subscribe, or as Charlamagne say, subscribe to my YouTube first, Just Hilarious Official, and then the Breakfast Club YouTube to
ain't nobody came to see you, Otis.
See my exclusive segment that I do for the Breakfast Club.
I'm gonna be completely honest. Nobody's gonna watch that shit. It sounds boring as hell. But what's interesting is that they had built their brand on YouTube, being a YouTube channel. Yes, of course, it's on radio, it's with iHeart, but the YouTube channel was synonymous with, having the video, the live show, where on radio, of course, it's audio, right? And so with this Netflix deal, what did you expect? They weren't going to let you post stuff on YouTube because what would be the point of getting the Netflix subscription if you can just watch it on YouTube? It was to bring people over. As you guys know, they want more podcasts on there. And also, I know Jadakiss and Fat Joe, they have their show on Netflix as well too. But with that being said, the Breakfast Club brand was kind of built off the internet. That's what made it relevant. That's what made it poppin'.
Word up though, if I'm Netflix, I need to build a Netflix podcast application. I need a separate mobile application strictly for stuff like the Breakfast Club. That's really the bridge that Netflix didn't cross here. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to get into the podcast business, wisely so. Content is content. But again, the paradigm shift for Netflix users is I don't think about Netflix first thing in the morning. And at this point, Breakfast Club is so old, man. You're asking their old ass user base to all of a sudden jump ship when they ain't gonna do it. It's not that important to them. They will forget about your ass in a heartbeat. Easily.
And, it's kind of like, I don't know if I have Netflix to watch The Breakfast Club. I'll be honest. Like I said earlier, I forgot all about it. Like, whenever I go on my homepage, I don't see The Breakfast Club on my homepage at all. Like, so who's really watching it on Netflix? Probably not too many people. I just don't think that was the best deal. I think they got a shitty deal. However, at the end of the day, it's all about money. iHeart seen dollar signs. They're like, oh, okay, great. Now, I don't know how long this deal is going to last, but knowing that they can't post the content on YouTube and stuff like that, it's going.
I think iHeart is dumb for hosting that old ass show. Every show has a shelf life, man. And personally, I don't tune into Breakfast Club at all. There has to be something super special going on at Breakfast Club for me to tune in, especially since they brought in this clown. I don't mess with her at all. I'm gonna keep it real. Funny face ass.
To hurt the Breakfast Club. They're going to become irrelevant. But also, it seems like they've been trying different deals, because remember, they were on BET at one point too, right? And then all of a sudden that went away. Now, I did see that they still are on Twitch, and it's funny because somebody commented, they said, "What up, Breakfast Club? When we coming back to YouTube? The Netflix move was terrible." Yeah. The people see it. They realize it. It's not the same. I mean, let's be honest. It wasn't the same after Angela Yee left, but it definitely is totally different now. Again, it's for...
Here's another solution for your dumbass Netflix. Put The Breakfast Club on the Netflix YouTube channel. No, but then you see, you might have to share revenue with YouTube. You greedy motherfuckers. Greed, man. It'll get you every time.
Forgettable. It's not something where like, oh damn, I have to tune in. I have to check it out on Netflix. If the BET deal didn't work, what made them think that the Netflix deal was going to be any better? Now, what I could see if like, hey, we dedicate like an hour to Netflix, and then on YouTube will be our main, we still do our content and whatever, but we'll have certain exclusive for Netflix only. They could have did something like, oh, we interview Netflix stars, or, the reality stars, or people who have shows on Netflix.
Bingo.
It could have been more catered towards that than to just take the whole platform and put that on Netflix.
Bingo.
I don't think it's the right market. Like, is that their target audience? The people who watch Breakfast Club are the same people who watch Netflix? I mean, granted, all of us, at least we're sharing somebody's account, but all of us have a Netflix account, but we're not going to Netflix to watch The Breakfast Club. Let's just be honest about that. And
again, it's your mind is associated with The Breakfast Club in the morning because it's breakfast, and you think Netflix at night. Nobody in their right mind goes to Netflix at 8 o'clock in the morning. Nobody. Netflix has to make a total mental paradigm shift in their viewership in order for this to be successful, and they dropped the ball miserably.
And, also too, let me bring up their YouTube channel, because again, they haven't came on my timeline or anything like that. So I honestly forgot about The Breakfast Club. I'm still subscribed and everything like that, but it doesn't come up because they barely put out content. So as you see, they have a full show here. I think that's just the audio. Then a Bill Clinton that got 18, 24, 12,000. Well, this is all from today. But if you check like the day before, this got 137,000, the donkey of the day. So they still got that on there. Then they got the full show. And then Shia LaBeouf, 44,000, 9,000 for a little Corey Bush clip. Again, a clip, not the full interview. Then they're talking about Deion Cole, Ben Crump. Yeah, these views aren't, The
views ain't popping, y'all. They ain't popping like they used to. You can tinker with things until you break them. I mean, in the Army, we used to call it knob dicking, where some guys just had this insatiable lust to tinker with things. And inevitably, their tinkering ways would cause calamity that everybody else would have to fix. And that's what's going on with The Breakfast Club. I'm actually pretty surprised that The Breakfast Club is still kicking at this point in time. I really wrote it off for dead. I thought Angela Yee was the canary in the coal mine, and that she saw the writing on the wall and that the rest would follow. Of course, Charlamagne the God has had a very successful career outside of The Breakfast Club, which is probably the only thing sustaining it, because nobody really gives a damn about DJ Envy or Just Hilarious. So, we got 2 more topics tonight, folks. 2 more videos to review for your pleasure. This first one is by the homie Illogics. That's right. Our man Illogics, friend of the show. We're a friend of his channel. He's got a new video.
Back.
Damn it. He's got a new video that just ran in your ear, or it started in your ear. I'm queuing him up so I can get the title, but the title is, this is the nail in the coffin for MAGA. Logic is going to give you his breakdown about this new Iraq war.
Ain't no Logic's back.
Dang it. Before Logic goes, I'm going to give you my honest opinion, my honest reaction to what Donald Trump is doing. And then we're going to hear from Logic's. Then we're going to hear from former Congresswoman, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Miss Bad Body, Bleach, Blonde, Butch Built B, as Jasmine Crockett referred to her. This Iraq war is ridiculous in every single way. Iran war, pardon me. Donald Trump is obviously Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu's puppet, although I'm sure, well, Vladimir Putin must approve. Donald wouldn't do this without his approval, but Iran has been Russia's sponsor state for some time now. Russia has defended Iran against the United States. This realignment, what's happening now, is nothing more than a regime change because the Iranians threatened to nationalize their oil. You see, corporations, since their invention, have served humanity in good and both bad ways, both good and bad ways. But at this point in time, the corporations are so greedy and so focused on owning everything and commercializing everything that most of us, nations around the world, we have no commons. We don't own our countries anymore. It's amazing that we still have national parklands. They must be absolutely useless to them. Otherwise, they would devastate those. The situation we have going on in Iran was entirely made of Benjamin Netanyahu's desire for a greater Israel. That expansionist project, along with the Trump Gaza project, which is one of the most politically insulting things you can ever see as an American, that an American president is literally preparing his resort in a land that his partner is committing genocide on. And you and I are paying for every little bit of it. Every little bit of it. That's what Donald Trump gets out of this. Netanyahu gets to dominate the Middle East. In fact, dumbass Mike Huckabee came out the other day and said he didn't see a problem with Israel controlling the entire Middle East. Well, when you say things like that, Mike Huckabee, and you attack the heart of the Middle East, which is Iran, you have essentially told the entire Arab world that they will bow down to Judeo-Islamic rule, Judeo-Christian rule, pardon me. You have just told every Arab Muslim in the region that they are going to be subject to the same thing you just did to the Palestinians. Do you think for 1 minute they're not going to drop all allegiance with the United States and fight Israel and fight the United States, who is already having problems with logistics, defense, losing people because of our idiot king? Those Arab nations are going to coalesce. They're going to forget their little problems, and they're going to figure out a way to destroy Israel. At the same time, you got a president threatening to use nuclear weapons. Donald Trump is going to be the end of humanity. I'm resigned to it. I'm resigned to it. Y'all won't do nothing about it. In fact, a great deal of this country is in a trance when it comes to Donald Trump. A political trance, a death cult driven by right-wing Christian evangelicism and Judaism. The Judeo-Christian overlay on this secular nation is destroying it. And you guys will play along because you're Christians. And you guys will play along because you're Jews. Well, I'm neither. Let's spin the clip, Logics.
What am Logic's back with another one. Today, we're going to talk about the just pure hypocrisy and the lack of morals and scruples that MAGA has. I know that this is a running trend on this channel, but that's what we're about. We're about exposing liars, hypocrites, grifters, all that stuff. So for those that don't know, a few days ago, we began bombing, going to war with Iran. Now, as you guys know, if you're not new to this channel, geopolitics is not my strong suit. That's not where I'm the most knowledgeable, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I am on the subject matter. But just giving some factual history about the situation that I do know a little bit of. Pretty much, this is a war that we're running in arms with Israel. This is a big talking point that people on the left and the right have, is that America seems to be very beholden to whatever Israel wants to do. And this is all over their nuclear bomb making.
Now, let's, again, big shout out to my man. Subscribe at Illogics on YouTube. That's at ILLOGIX. That's the homie. Another young, brilliant brother from Chicago, South Side to be exact. Big up to the man. But yeah, what he's saying about, you know, Israel's nuclear ambition and protection, Israel has given up the ghost already. Israel is not supposed to admit that they have nuclear weapons. They're not supposed to have nuclear weapons. Yet Benjamin Netanyahu told Donald Trump that if he didn't attack with our bunker buster bombs, that he would use nuclear weapons. How can you make that threat, Benjamin Netanyahu, when you're not part of the International Atomic Energy Agency? When your nuclear weapons are not on record, how can you make that threat? We are being wagged by the tail. We are the big dogs. You, viewer, you, listener, you need to put an end to this. We are being governed by foreign nations. And they don't care about our values. They don't care about the progress we've made as a nation. The South Africans are trying to tear us apart. The Israelis are trying to tear us apart. The Russians are trying to tear us apart. And half of this country is participating in the shit. Wake up.
We're supposed to not be enriching uranium to make nuclear weapons. And funny enough, in 2018, Trump tore up the JCPOA, which was basically an agreement between Iran, America, I believe UK, and China, maybe one or two other countries, to monitor their enrichment of uranium to keep them from making nuclear weapons. And Trump tore that up for reasons, I guess. Of course, with anything, there's good and bad, upsides, downsides to any deal. Somebody's going to get the upper hand. Somebody may not get as much as they want. His plan was that it wasn't good enough, basically, and over time that it would.
I'm going to jump in on my boy here. Trump tore it up because Obama made the deal. That's why he tore it up. Strictly because Barack Obama made the deal. That's all.
Matter, and they would enrich later on, and that just seems to be a thing with Trump. It's just like it's either all or nothing, and it just never goes in his favor. So I don't know why that's his game plan so much. But nonetheless, if in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, it's just that he kind of knew that this was going to happen. And you'll see in some of these contradictions that we see from these people from the past to now that they kind of never cared and knew that this was going to happen. He was just hoping it wouldn't happen under his watch. But lo and behold, it has. But the bigger thing about all of this, in my opinion, is I'm not really here to litigate whether this war is good or bad. If you agree with it, if you don't, that's not why we're here. The problem is that he ran on no new wars. Now, as somebody that's a human being with a brain and kind of understand how these things go, nobody actually likes war and nobody wants to be at war. But if we're gonna be honest, we will accept the terms of war depending on the reason for it. For Trump to even run a campaign to say no new wars was just already ridiculous to run on in the first place. And the people that believed it was even stupider than him for saying it. Because as much as nobody wants new wars, there are certain conditions that can happen that all of us would be like, a war is inevitable or it must happen. And
But this ain't one of them. This ain't one of them. There is no emergency. In fact, this idiot claimed to have destroyed Iran's nuclear capacity a year ago. ran victory laps, looking like George Bush on a damn carrier. Tell me I'm wrong. MAGA, where you at? Did he or did he not say he destroyed Iran's nuclear capacity a year ago? He's a fucking liar. He's a fucking con man, and you're a fucking idiot.
Accept it for what it is, as sad as it may be. Lives may be lost, things will be damaged, economies will be shaken up, but there are certain circumstances where we can understand war may happen. So to have a campaign running on no new wars, knowing that this Iran situation was one bubbling up in and of itself, I think it's just ridiculous that anybody believed him, and I think it was ridiculous for him to run on that. So as I said at the front part of this video, it's not just about if you agree with the war or you don't. It's the fact that these people lie. They lie, they don't care, and they don't have any morals or standards. And if you do have them, you get called out like the Hodge twins just was. Let's get into all the inconsistencies. And before we do, man, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. Also, since I'm a small creator, make sure you hype the video. If you want to have conversations beyond the comment section, make sure you join my Discord in the description below. And if you're into gaming content, make sure you sub to my channel, Logic's Lens, which is also in the description. Now, let's get to the video. So let's kick it off with this one right here. This is hilarious. With the man himself. Let's see what he had to say in 2011 versus 2026.
So folks, I'm doing something that I typically don't do or claim to not do, which is a reaction to a reaction. Bear with me.
President will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. The United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating...
Who announces a war in a baseball cap? Who? He about to die.
And it just sounds so pathetic. He sounds so defeated too, which is so funny because not only did he say that, he tweeted it back in 2013. Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. I don't even know why he say remember when I predicted, because it didn't happen.
And Obama made that deal in 2014, dumbass.
Mind you, let's not forget, Trump bombed Iran twice. And remember the first time he did it earlier last year, he was like, oh, we obliterated their nuclear plans and we set them back a whole bunch. Even though we knew that that wasn't true because Iran came and said it wasn't true. And some other politicians said, yeah, we didn't kind of blow it up to where nothing could happen. We just kind of set them back a few months. And so if that actually happened, what is this bombing going on for? Why is this happening right now? And we all know why. It's because these people are shameless liars.
The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should?
So he understood that then, but he didn't understand it when Benjamin Netanyahu told his ass what to do. Why? Because Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent working for Benjamin Netanyahu, and they got videotape of Donald Trump doing some unsavory shit.
I think it's my turn, isn't it? You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
And that's exactly what your ass is doing now, Donald.
All right. The war...
And this is how he won. He was just telling people what they wanted to hear in that first term. Mind you, and he lied. He said that he obliterated their nuclear plans in Iran last year. I think it was like June or something like that. I could be wrong on the exact month. But he bombed them last year in his first year.
Sure did.
Lied about what happened, and now you're bombing them again, and we're at war pretty much.
We've spent $8 trillion in the Middle East, and we're not fixing our roads in this country. How stupid is it? And we're not fixing our highways, our tunnels, our bridges, our hospitals even, our schools even. It's crazy.
But America's interest
This can't be the president, y'all.
This is Vance in 2024.
Because sometimes going to be distinct. Like sometimes we're going to have overlapping interests, and sometimes we're going to have distinct interests. And our interest, I think, very much is in not going to war with Iran, right? It would be a huge distraction of resources. It would be massively expensive to our country.
And now we have Vance in 2026. Not even 5 years.
Jefferson Davis Vance.
Years removed from what he said about Iran.
And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives.
Like, as a politician, how is it a satisfactory, not just a politician, the vice president, how is it a satisfactory answer to tell the American people we had dumb presidents and now we don't? First of all, that's a flat out lie. Trump is objectively the dumbest president we've ever had in history. I don't know what George Washington and them was on back then, but I guarantee you Trump is dumber than all of them. Even with the IQ imbalance because of their time and ours, Trump would fail an IQ test in the 1800s. I bet anything. Just so y'all know. This ad with Tulsi Gabbard is
this little cult member right here, man. We're going to move on to our next video, still on the same topic of the new Iran war. The United States has been at war for over 95% of its existence. Pardon me, I got something in my eyelash. The United States has been at war for over 95% of its existence and has no ability to stop, it seems. But I have a little hope, just a little hope. When the other side starts making a little more sense, I get a little hope. All right. We got a video, the last video we're going to review today by none other than Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on the Megyn Kelly show. I'm going to try not to throw up, but we're watching this through a filter, all right? So we're going to watch this video. I believe this is Secular Talk. I could be mistaken. I forget the source, but we'll see in just a moment. And Marjorie Taylor Greene absolutely letting loose on Donald Trump and the GOP, absolutely relentless in her criticism, absolutely what the people need to hear right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a horrible human being. She deserves no credit. But when a broken clock is right, it's right. So let's listen to this broken clock, y'all. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Like a person.
The 6 B's of Marjorie Taylor Greene is what we'll call them. Oh, this is an AT2 video, which is great. More AT2. Make sure you head over to AT2 at YouTube and subscribe to the brother over there, all right? More AT2. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Megyn Kelly. Marjorie lets Donald Trump have that business.
Saturated in neocons, the pro-Israel crowd, and people who would love to cheerlead us right into another Middle East ground war that's endless. I was grateful for your contrary perspective, Marjorie. Thank you for being here today, and give us your overall view on why you're against this.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Megyn, and I completely agree with everything you said in your intro. I'd also like to point out that X is saturated in bots as well, and paid social media influencers who just echo whatever their money tells them to say, the money that they're getting paid for. And so I think that just like our media has been nothing but propaganda for as long as you and I can remember, I think social media has turned into the same thing. What I do know is most Americans, and it's being proved in polling that's coming out, most Americans are completely against this war because, like you said, the president has made no case for it. We live our ordinary lives and we don't feel threatened by Iran. We don't walk around thinking that in any moment an Iranian ballistic missile is going to land on our head. We don't. Here's what Americans, and I want to read off this list. This is what Americans are focused on. 72% of Americans can't afford health insurance. 58% of Americans can't afford car insurance. 67% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 31% of Americans can't afford their back taxes. 50% of Americans are in credit card debt, massive credit card debt. That's where we are in America. And I campaigned with the president.
Ooh, I fit into all them statistics. Damn. When she was reading it up, I was like, oh, yeah, I can't afford a home.
Check.
Texas, this, that. Yeah, she's right about that.
As a matter of fact, I was one of the only Republicans that was out there for Donald Trump when the rest of the neocons, by the way, that are just cheering him on now, had abandoned him and were trying to beat him in a primary and stop him from being president again. I was out there on the front lines for Make America Great Again. And Make America Great Again was supposed to be America first, not Israel first, not any foreign country first, not any foreign people first, but the American people first and our problems. And God bless the Iranian people. I hope to God that they can have a government that is for them and that treats women fairly. But what we have seen happen right now is we have seen over 100 little girls killed at a school from a bomb.
All right, now I've seen some of this video, and let me tell you folks, Margie is just warming up. She's about to start cooking. But it's important to note, Israel is running the same damn playbook in Iran that they ran on the people of Gaza, blowing up hospitals. And in this instance that she's about to speak on, blew up a school, a girls' school, and killed like 165 schoolgirls. Benjamin Netanyahu is evil. And he is the Israeli Hitler. He is. It is time to start calling him what he is. Shame his ass. Okay? You Zionists, you of all people ought to know better than to do this shit. Of all people, you ought to know better. To turn around and commit the same atrocities that were committed upon you is outright shameful, and you know it. And there's not enough shame in the world for you. So every chance I get until this shit ends, that's what I'm going to say. Now, for the other side of the conflict, I honestly don't get the Arab Muslim perspective very much at all in our media. So I have to admit that I'm ignorant about their perspective, and perhaps we should do some homework. But Marjorie's about to start cooking. Let's spin the clip.
That is for them and that treats women fairly. But what we have seen happen right now is we have seen over 100 little girls killed at a school from a bomb. And I don't know whose bomb it was, but they're dead today because America and Israel attacked Iran. So that's not really good for Iranian women.
Well, a few things. The whole fantasy about, oh, yeah.
I want everybody to pause for just a second and think about what 165 schoolgirls annihilated by a bomb looks like. Just stop and imagine it for a second, what that looks like. We in this country still uphold the memory of the Birmingham church bombing, where 4 little girls were killed by the Ku Klux Klan in a church. Those 4 girls were Angela Davis's friends. Angela Davis was there that day in that church. We still memorialize that. They lost 160 little girls. If you think Iran is ever going to forget this, if you think Iran is ever going to be on our side, ever going to ally with us, no matter how many bombs and bullets we shove up their asses, you can forget it. It's not going to happen. They will never forget this.
They're going to have a regime change and all that stuff. No, this is baked into the system. A regime change, highly unlikely. We've seen what happened in Afghanistan. We've seen what happened in Iraq. Nothing has changed. Well, minor changes, but nothing drastic. I mean, with the Taliban is back in power in Afghanistan, so yeah, nothing happened with that.
There.
In Iraq, you know that Saddam Hussein was murked. You know, I can't say the real word, but murked. And then also with the bomb that hit that school, America is saying that Iran did that to their own people.
Yeah, right.
That makes no sense that they would do that to their own people.
Come on, y'all.
So you're attacking them, but they decide to bomb their own people. Make it make sense.
Stop lying.
And our president is saying that the Iranian people are all of a sudden going to topple their regime. Well, I don't think the Iranian people are going to be toppling their regime when they're getting blown apart by the United States and Israel in an unprovoked attack. And yes, it was unprovoked. And Pete Hegseth said this morning, Megyn, he said that we didn't start this war. But I hate to argue with the Secretary of the Department of War. America and Israel definitely started this war, and you can't lie that.
She mentioned Pete Hegseth, and I'm going to speak about Pete Hegseth briefly before I let her roll on, because it's important. Pete Hegseth is a member of a German Catholic evangelical church that prides itself in being a holy crusading church that believes in holy war. They believe in the domination of Christians and Christianity over other people on the planet by virtue of war. So when Donald Trump's Christian evangelical base puts this man in the Department of Defense, now termed the Department of War, this should come at no surprise that all of a sudden we're committing atrocities in the Middle East. It's not going to end as long as this administration is in place. They want this. And all of you should know they want this because of the mythology that says the Jews must return to Israel in order for Jesus to return. This is where the Jews and the Christians are in the same boat with this plan. It's called the rapture. In order for Jesus to return and sweep up 144,000 Christians. That's all that's supposed to go to heaven. 144,000 in this rapture. The rest of us are supposed to burn, die, and go to hell. This is what's governing your country. This mythology is now governing you. You are now Christianistan. You're just as bad as these Islamic republics. America is moving into a theocratic order, a white nationalist, theocratic ethno-state. That is what they want. This war is the opening salvo.
Away to the American people. And so, you know how I feel right now? I am irate. I am furious about this. We are nearly $40 trillion in debt. How much is this war going to cost us? We have seen enough of our American troops dead and murdered for foreign countries. And now we've had 4 dead and murdered, just like you said, for Israel and for the Iranian people, not for the American people. And I don't want to see any more dead and murdered. Our military is filled with some of the greatest people from our country, and God bless their families who are probably losing their minds right now, terrified that their son or daughter or their husband or wife or brother or sister may come home in a flag draped coffin.
For what?
And then we have the president who, by the way, Megyn, this really needs to be said. Donald Trump has said repeatedly on camera and in interviews, he doesn't think he's going to heaven. Well, I want to ask a question, a serious question. What is in his mind? What is his mental state? If he...
So here's your mythology at play. She's a believer. You see the cross on her neck? AT2 is a believer. That binds these two. All right, this is the mythology at work. A black Christian don't agree with a white Christian because a white Christian think they're better than a black Christian, and a black Christian thinks they're better than a white Christian. Don't tell me y'all don't. You do. You all play the no true Scotsman fallacy when it comes to your Christianity. See the contradictions. Wake up.
Doesn't think he's going to heaven, and he is a man towards the end. He's in the 4th quarter. He's towards the end of his life. How does that pan out for the rest of us when we have a president of the United States who doesn't think and is convinced he's not going to heaven? What does that mean? He
doesn't believe he's going to heaven. What kind of person doesn't believe they're going to heaven?
Decision-making is. He already said to the New York Post today that he doesn't care about the polling.
Well, let me stop her there, because this is where I have to call them out, because they talk about, oh, America is a Christian nation and we need Christians and Trump is of God. He always talks about Christians.
Here comes the no true Scotsman fallacy.
Like they're the others. Like, oh, I love Christians. You know, I love the evangelicals. Like, he doesn't consider himself a Christian. He never mentioned that he loved God. Yeah, he has a Trump Bible, but this man knows that you guys love shit like that. He knows that, oh, if I just say, you know, here's a Bible with my signature on it, they'll eat it up because you guys are dummies. This man is not a Christian at all, but you voted for him.
There it is. No true Scotsman. Christianity has a very low bar. I don't know if y'all know this, but you basically are not required to do a damn thing to be a Christian. Just profess your love and your allegiance, and Christ is your Lord and Savior, and that's it. Has a very low bar. What bar do you have for yourself? That's the question.
This is the same man with multiple baby mamas, multiple wives, sexual harassment claims. He was found liable for sexual assault. Like, come on now. Where was the Christian in him?
None of that. Christianity will not prevent you from doing any of that. It won't. We all know some of the dirtiest people in the world are Christians. They're called preachers. We all know that. Christianity will not prevent you from doing dirtball stuff you want to do. It won't. In fact, it might enable some of the dirtball stuff you want to do.
Doesn't care about what the American people think, and he may put troops on the ground. He took this is going to be a few-day war, to now it's going to be maybe 4 weeks or more. I want to say, what is happening to the man that I supported, you supported, the man that denounced what happened in Iraq, the man that said no more foreign wars, no more regime change, promise it on the campaign. J.D. Vance promised it. Tulsi Gabbard promised it. All of them promised it. And we're a year in, and we're in another fucking war, and we've got American troops being killed. I think it's time for America to rip the Band-Aid off, and we need to have a serious conversation about what the fuck is happening to this country and who in the hell are these decisions being made for, and who is making these decisions.
Benjamin Netanyahu. That is who these decisions are being made for, if not Vladimir Putin, because Jeffrey Epstein provided extraordinary compromise on the current United States president, and we're all being held hostage, and the world is being held hostage by Bibi Netanyahu, who would love nothing more than to destroy every Arab in the Middle East.
The president on the heaven thing has said he was being cheeky about that he actually doesn't have worries, but I understand your greater point. Who is making the decisions?
Of course, Megyn Kelly's going to try to defend Trump. This is the same man that said she was bleeding out of her whatever.
Sure did.
Listen, I understand that at the end of the day, people might not like you. You don't have to like a person. But this man has disrespected Megyn Kelly so many times and she still decides to kiss his ass. This is how if you don't trust somebody who won't fight for themselves, this means you can't trust any shit that they say.
Because the President Trump that was talking to us about going in and, we're going to, the Iranian people, they're going to thank me. I did you a favor. I made you a promise and I lived up to it. He was talking to the Iranian people, not the American people. Yeah. I made you a promise and I lived up. What do you mean? They didn't vote for you.
That's right.
They weren't on the campaign trail for you.
Nope.
We're the ones who are putting our best and bravest at risk right now. And he says the Iranian people it's up to them to now sort of take the baton and like install new leadership. They have no guns. They're sheltering in place because we're bombing their country right now. How are they what is the plan for them to then take the baton and install a new leader?
And I noticed that the media on both sides have been showing propaganda. They're showing a whole bunch of American Iranian people celebrating. Yeah, they're celebrating because at the end of the day,
there are no both sides corporate media. No, they're all in on this. They're all in on this, and it's all Zionism. There's long been people who say that Jews control the media in America, and they are not wrong. They're not wrong. Look at Bari Weiss. Look at what CNN was about to happen to CNN with Larry Ellison. Look at CBS. Every single time. Now, they started the Hollywood industry, so yeah, they have ownership of that enterprise to a large degree. We have to stop being afraid to admit that people have certain power. We have to stop treating Jewish people like the goddamn boogeyman. They are extremely powerful in this country and in this world. Hats off to them. No hatred to them. But you're going to get called out on my show just like everybody else, if not more because of what you're doing. At this point in time, more so. My left-wing Jewish brothers and sisters, we ain't talking to you. You know that. You know that. You're good people, just like the rest of the left. But these right-wing separatist, racist a-holes that all of us in every country seem to have to deal with, they need to be dealt with. And I'm not going to soften it because of their religion or their ethnicity anymore. Jews are just white people with a different religion. So if I'm free to talk about American Christian whites, I'm going to talk about Israeli Jewish whites the exact same goddamn way, without fear and without malice and without hatred. Because just because you address someone's race doesn't mean that you're prejudiced or hateful. In this case, it cannot be denied that the Israeli Jewish ethno-state is controlling this supposed secular country. Cannot be denied. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a Christian white nationalist, also my enemy. She recognizes this. She recognizes this. When enemies agree, they're right. Period. Wake the hell up, America. Before it's too late, before the nuclear bombs start falling on our cities. Wake up.
They're not in Iran. They're over here in America. Just like with Venezuela, when they captured Maduro, you see the Venezuelans here in America celebrating. But yet, that country is still left in chaos. And basically, the vice president took over. The vice president under Maduro. So again, what really happened? What changed? And then with this situation, like Megyn said, the people are sheltering in place. Like, they can't fight. They don't have the weaponry to fight back or anything like that. Like, they have to worry about like ducking and covering. And the videos over there in Iran, seeing the people, the devastation and seeing them cry and just, it's ugly. They're not out there, quote unquote, celebrating. No. They don't have an opportunity to celebrate because they got to duck for cover.
They got to carry grandma dusty ass out of rubble.
How are they going to do that with the IRGC still intact and there still being Iranian leaders? Not everybody was wiped out. And his comments to the press today seem to be they're going to lay down their arms and join with the Iranian patriots.
No, they're not.
Based on what? Yeah. Based on what? So if that doesn't happen willingly, just by like the grace of God, okay, we're going to do it, then we are going to have to do it, or Israel's going to have to do it. And the more Israel fights, the more we have to fight, MTG, because that's what got us into this mess to begin with. We saw they were going to head and do it, and we felt like we had no choice because they were going to attack our bases first thing as soon as Israel did it.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right. And I heard an analyst say today that okay, we've killed approximately maybe 40 or more of their top leadership, and the Ayatollah, well, guess what? The cleric ruling class is about 50,000 deep in their government. Are we going to kill all 50,000 of them before they can bring a new government in? And while this is happening, Megyn, we're bombing them. We are bombing them and killing their people and destroying their buildings and wreaking havoc on their entire ability to function in daily.
Look, y'all, it's time for the 25th Amendment. Impeachment is too long, too sloppy, too political. It's time for the president's cabinet to wake up, to snap out of this. The problem is the president's cabinet is with this. But even they at some point got to understand that this is not acting in the interest of the United States, and they're not going to be in power forever. And there will be accountability at some point. we on the left, at this time, we know we're defeated. We know we can't do anything to overcome what Donald Trump is doing to America right now. We know that. But we are planning. And what we're planning is the post game. And the post game is going to be something nasty. We're talking Nuremberg trials. We're talking all types of shit. Treason and sedition charges. Donald Trump's legacy being ruined forever. Taking all the money he's stolen from us, all the emoluments he's gained, everything. There should be nothing left of this Trump administration but a black mark in America's history by the time we're done reconciling everything that he's done. And frankly, America can't survive 3 more years of this. It can't. We'll be in civil war by November. I'm going to tell you the truth, man. All this is cool, but I feel like it's already over. I feel like we're just on that nuclear clock. We're on that countdown to the apocalypse, and Donald Trump is just the one to usher it in. But before he blows up the world, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell so you don't miss a doggone thing here on PTJ. This is your man Zen Master for Reaction Nation. We're going to keep doing this as long as the show is quality, as long as we keep coming up with new material. For now, you want to check me out, you can head over to Godfrey. I'll be in the chat room with Godfrey, cutting up, cracking jokes, enjoying myself. Salute to those folks over there. Maybe we'll do some reactions from Godfrey tomorrow. Salute the game gang. See you on the next go round, and deuces. It's your man Zen Master.
Yeah, life was rough. Rust Belt dreams never seemed enough. Steel town grit with the winter so cold. Mama praying hard just to keep her soul. Young black king trying to break the mold. 17 to the 90, I was sharp as a knife. Dodging all the hate, trying to carve my life. Pride in my step even through the strife.